I was laid off 3 times within 6 months until I was permanently laid off.
I graduated with my bachelor's and I haven't been able to find anything.
Jobs disappear, and the way the economy is going right now, it's tough to find a job.
When the workers in China are being abused, then workers in America have a tougher time competing against them.
5.5 million manufacturing jobs gone.
57,000 manufacturing facilities closed in this nation.
Some of the workers at companies, literally their last act at the factory was to unbolt the machine and load it up to be shipped off to China.
There's no question that a large part of China's competitive advantage has come from environmental neglect.
16 of the world's 20th dirtiest cities are located in the People's Republic.
That leads to carbon emissions and particulate matter falling all along the coast of the United States.
If you put it in your mouth or the hands of a child, don't buy it from China.
They're not only ruining our economy, they're poisoning our children with the toys that we give them.
China until today is a totalitarian regime, is a dynasty, not republic, not people's country.
China's military power is strengthening very, very rapidly.
It's developing a modern, well-equipped, technologically capable military.
China is the only major nation in the world that is preparing to kill Americans.
We're a subsidiary of China and getting worse and worse because they're going to own us pretty soon.
If we talk about who's to blame, I think partially our own government.
Our government should be doing something.
They could have stepped in, I think, a long time ago.
Please hear us.
I think that at every level, people could boycott and there would be a shot heard around the world.
Well, these black jails are essentially extra-legal secret detention centers that allow officials to throw anyone in there that they want without charge and without arrest, and it's precisely what the new criminal procedure law is going to try to prevent. But as we found out, what's written in the law books is very different than what happens on the ground.
Liu Zhiyang says her daughter was kidnapped by state agents and taken here, an ad hoc holding facility. This is one way to control ordinary citizens in possession of evidence of government corruption. Liu's daughter had managed to gain access to a phone the night before to tell her mother where she was.
This is a black jail. What in Chinese is called 黑监狱. It's a place for police to capture people without arrest, without charge, and basically disappear them.
In the gloomy halls, Mrs. Liu realizes it's too late. The prisoners had been moved. Black jails are illegal detention centers that allow authorities to bypass the law. In front of cameras, the unidentified men are afraid to take too much action. I ask one of them where they've taken Mrs. Liu's daughter. He tells me she is safe, but he couldn't explain why the detained woman's own family had not been told of her whereabouts.
So as you can see, the situation is that there are black jails despite the new criminal procedure law that's going to be passed at this year's National People's Congress, preventing exactly this type of thing from happening. Family members not informed of the disappearances of their loved ones by police.
They demand the end to secret detentions. They know this is illegal. This man says the police are liars, you are bullies, and they unfurl messages of corruption, beatings, unsavory government activities. Finally, uniformed police show up. They film us filming them. Mrs. Liu begs them to help find her daughter. Shortly after, officers asked that we stop our camera. This is what the new criminal code is supposed to prevent, but the showpiece legislation will only matter if it is actually enforced.
According to the new law, family members of those arrested or held should be informed within 24 hours.
But tell that to Mrs. Liu and her friends. The police have arrived, but they showed no indication they shut down this black jail or others in the city, despite what the law says.
Well, with such a dismal picture, some people may wonder, what's the point of this new legislation if the Chinese authorities are not going to enforce it? We've spoken to some civil rights attorneys here in China, and they would say that while they're cynical, it is also a positive step that they have something in their arsenal to fight the system with. They now have this law that they can throw at officials, and even if in one case out of 100 they manage to free somebody as a result, well, then that's a baby step victory.
Everything the CCP does serves only one purpose: gaining and maintaining power. Killing is a very important way for the CCP to maintain its power. The more people killed and the crueler the killings, the greater the ability to terrify. In his book, The Enemy Within, Father Raymond J. DeJager relates the killing stories he witnessed in North China during the Sino-Japanese War. One day, the CCP required everyone to go to the square in the village. Teachers led the children to the square from school to watch the killing of 13 patriotic young men. After announcing the fabricated charges against the victims, the CCP ordered the horrified teacher to lead the children to sing patriotic songs while gesturing the executioner to begin. The executioner was a fierce, robust young communist soldier with strong arms. The soldier went behind the first victim, quickly raised a big sharp knife, and struck downwards, and the first head fell to the ground. Blood sprayed out like a fountain as the head rolled on the ground. The children's hysterical singing turned into chaotic screaming and crying. The teacher kept the beat, trying to keep the songs going. The executioner chopped 13 times, and 13 heads fell to the ground. After that, many communist soldiers came over, cut open the victims' chests, and took out their hearts for a feast. All the brutality was done in front of the children. The children went all pale due to the terror, and some started throwing up. The teachers scolded them and lined the children up to return to school. After that, Father DeJager often saw children being forced to watch killings. The children became used to the bloody scenes and numb to the killing. Some even started to enjoy the excitement.